Good evening, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Today, I want to talk about media lies. Media lies matter. Why is it important for elected officials to have control of media outlets? What impact do media outlets have on the people, the voters, right? Let's talk about that, folks. Good afternoon, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Today, I want to talk about the media lies, propaganda. Why is it important that elected officials control media outlets? Here in the city of Yonkers, we know that there are media outlets that are controlled by our elected officials. What impacts do they have? Let's talk about it. Good afternoon, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. I started to think about this because, I started watching a documentary, a pretty good documentary called Into the Light. And I also was thinking about yesterday and what was going on. You know, I'm sure many of you have seen the post and, saw the live that I did. Yeah, it's been quite a ride for my wife and I for the past at least year or so with the constant barrage of attacks, the defamation, the lies, videos, posted by media outlets, news outlets here in the city of Yonkers, outlets like the Yonkers Voice, Yonkers Newswire, and even the Yonkers Tribune had an article or two about me once before. And these individuals are paid just like other media outlets. Many people don't realize it, but more and more people are realizing that our media is controlled. They spew nothing but propaganda. And after the pandemic, I think more and more people started to awaken to that fact that we are being told lies by the news that we are watching. And it doesn't matter if it's CNN or it's Fox. They both lie to the people. They both have agendas, right? Agendas. And so these outlets perpetuate the agendas of individuals who sponsor them, right? And if you don't know, there was a little thing called Operation Mockingbird. And if you research it, you can find videos of the CIA speaking in front of Congress back in the 70s in regards to CIA operatives infiltrating media outlets and then controlling the narrative, telling editors what to write, what stories to focus on. And we're seeing that a lot here now, right? We're constantly hearing about Donald Trump. And regardless how you feel about Donald Trump, the fact is that Joe Biden has a lot of skeletons in his closets that for one reason or another, our media is not picking up and is not putting out there. And the same happens here locally, right? There's a lot of things that are going on here in the city of Yonkers that the mainstream local independent media outlets are just not informing you guys about. And so that's what Basement Politics has done. And for that, I have been attacked. I have become a target of individuals who operate within Yonkers politics and have an interest in seeing me shut up. And so they've done everything from attack my wife to harass her job, to send me text messages, phone calls with all kinds of nonsense at all times of the day. They've created fake accounts, and they've also created a website dedicated to me in order to create a narrative. So they understand how powerful the media is. They understand how powerful their narrative, if it's perpetuated enough and spread enough, can be, and what impact it can have. It doesn't matter if it's lies, right? Lies become truths if they're repeated enough times. And so this is something that we have to be aware of, not just locally, but also on a national level. And I think many of us now know this after the pandemic, right? And what the pandemic also did, aside from expose us to the fact that our elected officials in the media lies to us all the time, it created a wave of independent news guys, right, and gals who now started to create these podcasts and have these platforms where they started to bring the news because they realized that what we're hearing on corporate media is not the truth. And so people have now, like me, Basement Politics, have created these podcasts or vlogs, sites, social media sites, and pages that now bring people the news. But everything gets corrupted when you have money involved. And even the independent guys see an opportunity to make money. And that's what many of them do. And that's what's happened here in the city of Yonkers. But I want to go into really quick PSYOPs, right? PSYOPs. What is a PSYOP? Psychological operations. And the media is very important and plays a vital role in psychological warfare, which is now the fifth generation type of warfare and the most dangerous type of warfare. But why are these individuals so bent on, coming after me and utilizing these sources, these media outlets like the Yonkers Voice and Yonkers Newswire, creating websites about me? Why? Well, Mel Gibson will tell you it's most people's biggest fear. What does not kill you makes you stronger. And so I've had a lot of public humiliation. My wife has been humiliated publicly. Many people may not know that about 6-7 months ago, they created a picture. They photoshopped a picture with a dildo to my wife's face, and they photoshopped her in front of the school that she worked at, and they began to share this. And so before people start saying, Freddie, you're wrong for what you're doing, and I've seen the comments, people have commented, why is it that people have to, get disgusting and talk about people's families? We have to stop asking these type of questions. I don't get that question. And, look, we have to speak out. We have to call it out. This is nothing new. Right? Utilizing these news sites by our elected officials to attack people is nothing new. They did this to Mike Cater and his family. They dragged them through the mud. They've done this to other families. So instead of asking the question, why is it that Freddie Vasquez and Yonkers Voice are, why don't we start to come out and say, it's not okay. This is what they do. And this is what they've been doing. And they use the Yonkers Voice. They use the Yonkers Newswire. They'll use the Yonkers Times. And they use the Yonkers Tribune in the comment section to spew nasty hatred, negativity, to defame people, to target women and children. That's what we should be saying, right? And so they're not going to stop because they feel maybe I may have humiliated them. Well, they've come at me. And the reason why I bring all this new stuff up is because I know also Mr. John Cater has I guess, gave comments to the Yonkers Voice and the Yonkers Newswire. He told me he would. He said, Freddie, I'm going to go on the Yonkers Voice, which I find to be very strange because these individuals were utilized to bash his brother. They weren't there to support Mike Cater. Who was the guy that was supporting Mike Cater? Was it the Yonkers Voice? Was it the Yonkers Newswire? Was it the Yonkers Times? It wasn't the Yonkers Tribune. It was Basement Politics. Basement Politics. And that's why John Cater came to Freddie Vasquez and we started to talk. And as I said, I didn't know John Cater from the neighborhood we have, but I didn't know him. I was a younger guy. I knew of him. He knew my older relative. But, we got to know each other and it went from there. And so you have to be careful, again, with these news article and also people's agendas. Everybody has an agenda. Everybody has an agenda, right? And I have to just put it out there because I'm being sued for $1 million and I have to put it in there anyway. And I'm sure that they're going to put it out and make it public. So I might as well talk about it. Right? Because that's what they do. They'll utilize these news outlets to try to create a narrative. So I got to get ahead of it, right? I have to get ahead of it. And so John Cater, from what people have sent me the screenshots, went on to say that I was lying. And Yonkers Voice and Yonkers Newswire itching to get anything on Freddie Vasquez, anything negative, anything that can hurt him, his reputation, whatever damage they can do, jumped on it. But what they forgot was they were calling me the Cater puppet. I was Decatur's mouthpiece. How many posts did Yonkers Voice and Yonkers Newswire put up saying how Freddie, the MPAC puppet, MPAC being John Cater's political action committee or his organization. So all of a sudden now, because they want to make me out to be a liar by any means necessary, they are actually saying that I'm lying now about things that they were saying. So I guess I'm not, or I wasn't the mouthpiece of the Caters. And no, I was not the mouthpiece of the Caters because a lot of the stuff I talked about did not come from the Caters. They didn't give me a lot of information like they assumed. But when it came to a specific gentleman, specifically Zahi Jeris, yeah, there was a grudge there. There was a grudge there. But I have to protect myself and family because everyone else is doing the same. And when people are going behind, closed doors and they're working things out, and they're going to leave Freddie Vasquez out to hang and dry because they want to get him so bad, I got to protect myself. And when I see people making moves that suggest that maybe they are part of colluding to take my wife down, I got to look out for myself. I got to look out for my family. And so I have to come on Base in Politics and talk about it because people know us now. People know my wife. People know me, strangers, whether they're, like what I'm doing or you got a few that are, say negative things about me, but people know who we are. So I have to come and speak about it before these news outlets put fake stories out, put out lies, and create this narrative. John's going to go on Yonkers Voice. The best move would be not to even say anything. Right? And so I just think it's crazy. But, that's what individuals do. They pay the Yonkers Voice. They pay Brian Harrod to attack individuals, to create lies. That's their go-to person. And so John Cater feels that's his go-to person in order to try to discredit what I said or to, say that I'm lying. Why would I be lying about that? Tell me. Why would I be lying about that? And the point for me saying it is because, people will add fuel to a fire and then back away like they had nothing to do with it. Leave a person out there to hang dry all alone, not even defending me with words. And then quite possibly your wife may have been part of colluding to destroy my wife. Am I being played here? So like I've always said, as long as people don't try to play me, I'm never going to try to play you. But when I sense that I'm being played, I'm going to have to definitely look out for myself. Because I've learned in politics, especially here in Yonkers, it is every man for themselves. And so lies, using the Yonkers Voice, a man who was convicted of pedophilia, is the norm here in the city of Yonkers for a lot of people. And I guess that's where Mr. Cater thinks he's going to go and discredit what I'm saying. But again, that's a man that did not defend your brother when they were throwing him under the bus and his family. He was helping them. He was helping assassinate your brother's character and his political career. And that's where you're going to run to. Doesn't make sense to me. So this is part of the website that they have created. And by the way, this costs money. So they're that invested in trying to create this image or perception about me and whatever they think they're doing. They're spending money. So one of the things they're saying that I said was the city council, Lakeisha Bellamy, is a black puppet who keeps stalking him and coming to his house uninvited. So let's talk about that. First of all, and I think Lakeisha knows this very well because she is an attorney, right? Esquire. What I said was that the developers that she's working on behalf of look at her as their black puppet. I've been in those situations. You're a minority. You can do well for certain group of individuals. They're going to use you. But when it hits the fan, or when you really need these people to support you and be behind you, they're not going to be there for you. Once they're done, they're done. They got what they wanted and they're done. They might give you some crumbs and keep it moving. But you're, you essentially, you're a tool. The same as the Yonkers Voice, the same as Yonkers Newswire, the same as individuals try to make basement politics, right? A tool. And that's all I was saying. Don't let them do that. Don't let them use you. She knows very well that I came to her and I said, Lakeisha, I'm very proud that you became city council president. This is dope. I think you could spark a big movement here. And got nothing. Nothing. Right? And she knows that I was supporting her from jump, but disappointed me and a lot of people, and keep stalking me and coming to his house. People have come to my house, and you guys know this already. They've been caught. But Miss Bellamy once told someone that she did come to my home. And I mean, if this is a lie, then maybe she can, tell me, we can have a conversation. But she mentioned that to someone. Maybe she shouldn't have. She said it. I'm just repeating what I was told she said. That the Yonkers Tribune publisher Hezi Aris actually operates out of Nader Sage's law office. No. What I said was that the Yonkers Tribune has its address listed as 10 Palisades Avenue, a building owned by Nader Sage where he also has his office. Whether Hezi Aris is there every day or not, it's not what I'm saying. But his address, when you have to incorporate a business, they ask for the business address. It's 10 Palisade. Why would he use that? It's kind of like the whole thing with the checks that were written to the Yonkers Voice that went to City Hall. Why would they be addressed to City Hall? Maybe they didn't go to City Hall like someone said, but they listed that that's the Yonkers Voice's address. How would you make that mistake? I mean, I would never make a mistake of anyone's address at City Hall unless it was the city of Yonkers. Right? So on 2 occasions, Hector Santiago assaulted him in downtown Yonkers, and he was forced to beat up Hector in self-defense. No, actually, it only happened once. And it was in front of the, across the street from the library. And they all knew about this. I remember going to Corazon Pineda Isaac's event at Zupta's that was being sponsored by the Spanos at that time. And Lakeisha Collins Bellamy comes up to me as I'm at the bar there at Zupta's getting a Coke. I don't drink. I don't know. Anyway, and she says something, but we started talking, and I was telling her, where I went to school at. And, I said I never got into trouble, really. I said I wasn't a bad kid. I said, however, I did get into several fights in elementary school. And she says, quote unquote, I hear you're still good with your hands, right? Meaning I still can fight, because they all knew about this. I had not spoken about this incident with Hector Santiago that occurred in front of Francis Brady, in fact. And they have the video because the Yonkers police saw it. They saw the video. And I want to say sorry to Francis Brady. I didn't start it. I was attacked. I had to defend myself. We knocked over a table or two. And I was ashamed and embarrassed. And I couldn't believe at my age I was getting into a fight. But I had to take care of business. And there was only one time, and they all knew about it. They were talking about it at this event. Elected officials, the city council president. They're in their little circles talking about me in this incident where Hector Santiago took a swing at me and charged me. Right? So, but they tried to create lies through their Yonkers Voice and their news outlets. He has an MBA from some unnamed university. It's Iona College, Hagen School of Business, if you must know. Should I put a picture of the degree up? Yeah, I do have an MBA in finance and marketing. The National Public Radio producers and former Yonkers Police Commissioner John Mueller is working with him to expose YPD wrongdoings. Now, what is that? So they create and just fabricate things. And many of you believe this stuff because there are other things that they create lies about and fabricate that you don't realize that they're doing in order to create a narrative and to get people to support something that these elected officials want you to support. For example, when the day of the meeting for the term limits, remember when that whole debacle took place, the whole chaotic scene where Tasha Diaz is yelling, Hector Santiago got arrested. Well, Ruros of the Yonkers Voice says that there were only about a handful of people that were against the term limit extension. That was not true. He said the majority of the people are in support. What he did not say is that the majority of the people there were city employees who were told to be there, who were even given scripts to go up and speak. And I know because I have DPW workers who gave me this information, who provided me the scripts, who provided me the text messages that were being sent out. He didn't tell you that. I told you that. I reported that on Basement Politics, and that's, again, why, another reason why they've attacked me and my family. They didn't attack my family because I attacked theirs. They attacked my family because I spoke the truth about politics. They attacked my business because I spoke truth about politics. And so the man's a liar. So he's telling people that it's only a handful of people that are against the term limit, right? Totally neglecting the people that were there, the people that took the time to create signs, homemade signs. They made them themselves. They weren't the ones that were handed out, nicely printed using taxpayer dollars, I would imagine, and that were handed out to the city employees, all uniformed. Obviously, it was an organized and orchestrated thing. No, these were the real citizens, the real people of the city of Yonkers, and there were a lot. They had made signs themselves and were protesting, letting people know how they felt in the face of, all of those big guys from DPW that were there, some of them standing in the back, a lot of them standing by the door in an intimidating fashion. Ruros never mentioned that. So he does an injustice to the people. While he'll put your family on blast, right? He'll put your loved one's face on his page after they've died in a car accident, after they've been shot, after they've overdosed, before the family even finds out, but he won't tell the truth when it comes to politics. He won't put the elected officials on blast. And that's how he's able to afford those vacations he's always going on. The man doesn't have a job. Doesn't have a job. So how does he go on all those vacations? And so that's what they do. They utilize the Yonkers Voice. They pay him. That's his career, to create lies, keep you busy with the nonsense, not giving you the things that are actually important to you, like the fact that the developers are kicking a lot of people out. They're the reason why your rents are going up. They never brought the jobs that they promised. So he doesn't tell you any of that stuff. He'll bring you all of the overdoses, all the deaths, car accidents, and then lie to you about politics. So it's important for you to understand that. And they're utilizing him here now. He wants me to take all his stuff off. He'll take all the stuff off of me. That's a deal he wants to make. I speak the truth. You should take it off because it's a lie. But the man has zero integrity. Zero integrity. So again, this is nothing new. And our elected officials here in the city of Yonkers on the local level have understood the importance of the media and how important it is to control the media, silence the media, silence anyone that speaks out by any means necessary. Look at News 12. What do they report? News 12 doesn't say anything. They don't report anything. Low HUD. And by the way, I hear that those low HUD articles that were coming out on Mayor Spano and the nepotism and all that stuff was actually coming from Anthony Moranti's camp, not Corazon Pineda's camp. That's what I'm hearing. So I don't know. I'm confused. But if that is true, then makes me think some things. It makes me wonder. Makes me really wonder. I had a few conversations with them in their camp over there when she was running. But this is nothing new. Again, so they notice this is very important. They see it on a national level. They see how important it is to control the CNNs, the Fox News, how important it is to censor people on social media and all these other platforms, right? Especially when it came to the jab. They didn't want people knowing that the jab was dangerous, that they didn't go through all the clinical trials like they're supposed to. that we were, well, I didn't take it, but we were the clinical trials. And now they don't want to tell you that the rate of heart disease among young people, myocarditis, is up 500%. People are dropping. The common denominator among those people are that they took the jab. Specifically, athletes, the most healthy of all, are dropping like flies. Are they reporting that? No, they're telling you about Donald Trump. They're telling you about Donald Trump. Although Biden is the worst president that I've have lived through, that's for sure. So this is something from the 90s when they lied to the American people about Bosnia and Yugoslavia and what was going on there. Now, that is what happened. Blatant lies by our elected officials. So imagine what they're lying about in terms of the Ukraine war. I mean, none of us are there. How do we really know this is happening? How can we continue to take the word of our elected officials and the media? So we have to, again, understand how important the media is and the role they play in lying to people, in creating a narrative, and in supporting and helping those that are in power remain in power. And that's no different here in the city of Yonkers. And they've utilized, again, the Yonkers Voice and the Yonkers Newswire. At one point, the two of them were enemies. The same you see as Rue Rose and I with the Post. It was Brian and Rue Rose. And then they joined forces because they understood the power that they can have together if they can control the media, if they can control and have a good grasp or hold on the market in terms of news and where people are going to get their news from, that they can make money doing that. And so that's what they did. And now they work together to do that. And they've also expanded from there into creating lies about people. And so you have to watch what people do. That's the thing about me. You have to watch what people do. Not what they say, what they do. And so if anyone that you hear me talking about in this way is because they did something. They made a move. They were maybe playing me or not being completely honest with me. And you only get my loyalty if you're completely loyal to me. That's just how I am. And if I see funny business, I don't let people get a second opportunity. But that's not the way I play. But in politics, that's the way it is. And so we have to put the truth out there because politics is about lying. And if no one's putting the truth out, then the lie will prevail. Right? I want to share this quote by Plato. The price good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. So if we ourselves don't get involved and allow the narrative to be controlled and we're not active civically, we're not active in our local government, then we can't complain when we get the type of government that we have, or we get elected officials that we're not happy with, that are not representing the people. We are not involved. We are allowing for them to tell us what it's going to be. We are allowing for the news outlets to tell us what's happening rather than being engaged and knowing what's happening for ourselves and thinking for ourselves. But they don't want that. They want us to be asleep. They want us to be dependent on them. And being dependent on them for information is dangerous. So you cannot be dependent on the Yonkers Voice for information. Don't even be dependent on me, Basement Politics, for information, because sometimes I get it wrong. But I have no interest in, creating a lie, perpetuating a narrative that will support anyone that's doing harm to our city. That's why I didn't take any money when they offered me money. They offered me money just like these guys, and I didn't take it for that reason. I didn't want to be compromised. I didn't want people thinking I was going to be compromised. Oh, he's taking money, he's compromised. And I didn't want to take any money and then there'd be expectations. So I do this for no money. I do this for no clout. I do this for no likes. I do this to inform the people. Because it's important that you are informed, and it's important that you get involved. And it's important that you understand that a lot of these news guys, when it comes to politics at least, they may not be telling you the truth. There's an incentive. If any of them say anything against a certain individual, certain elected officials, they know that they will not get any more business. And for a guy like Ruros, who has no other source of income, the business is important for him. Someone like Brian Harrod, who lives completely on the system, dependent on social services and taxpayers to fund his 2 apartments he has up there at Grant Park, gets no other source of income besides the money he and Ruros share. So you have to understand it's important why they create lies, and you cannot trust them for news. You cannot trust what they say about people. And it's horrible what they do. Like this one guy said, you got these people that throw rocks and hide their hands. I don't like individuals like that. And so that's why I put it out there. Because if you can't see me, or if when I come see you, you call the cops, then I do it this way. I put the truth out. Because like Mel Gibson said, most people fear being exposed. Public ridicule. And I'm okay with it because they've been doing this to me and my wife for over a year now. So they are not victims. They are not innocent. And they work together, and it's organized, and they hire these news outlets to do this. I mean, I'm just a regular guy. Why do they care about me so much? So again, it's important to understand how the media lies to us, both on a national level and on a local level. And we have to do our own research. Some of these scenes that I'm showing you here is from things that I watch, documentaries. I do my own research. And it's becoming harder and harder, something that I've noticed, to get truthful information. There was a time when you can go on YouTube and you could get videos on certain things, and now you can't. It's becoming more difficult, and these algorithms, only put certain topics in front, or certain opinions or certain views in front of your face. So it's difficult to find opposing views, right? So if you're someone who believes that the jabs are dangerous and you try to look that up on YouTube, you're not going to get anything like that. All you're going to get is, oh, the jabs are safe. Oh, conspiracy theories of how the jabs are dangerous. Oh, Donald Trump and the jabs are dangerous, right? If you go against the jabs, the vaccines, then you must be a Trump supporter. And if you're a Trump supporter, then you must be a racist. And if you're a Trump supporter racist, then you must be white. You see the stereotypes that they perpetuate through the media? No different than if you're black, then you must be a criminal. If you're black, you must be a criminal who lives in the hood. And if you're black and you're a criminal who lives in the hood who doesn't have a father. That's the stereotype. Perpetuated by the media, perpetuated by television, and even the movies we watch, the entertainment. Some of the things that they talk about in these movies are to prime us, to get us used to an idea, right? We didn't get to, where we are today in terms of the transgender thing overnight. It was a gradual process, right? And now they're looking to make pedophilia legal. But we've already opened the floodgates. We're allowing kids to go to these shows where men are dressed, like, women, but not really, because I don't see women dressing like that. So are they really dressing like women, or is it just a character that's supposed to be a female? and they're showing things that are inappropriate in front of kids. So where do you think the next step is going to be? To legalize pedophilia. I mean, you might as well. You're letting men wear women's clothing with their nuts hanging out in front of kids at libraries. Might as well let the kids touch them and make it legal. Where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the line with these individuals when they get disgusting on these pages? Where do we draw the line with our officials when they allow this stuff in our schools? When do we stand up and go and fight? I'm ready to fight, folks. I'm ready to fight because this is not okay. And the media is used to perpetuate this narrative. And then what they do is they publicly shame you, right? If you would go against, this transgender reading in the libraries and you're homophobic and you're going to get shamed publicly, you're a bad person. Let's cancel you. I had people calling me homophobic just because I didn't agree with the transgender shows in front of kids. Does that make me homophobic? And then if it does, then I guess I am. I'm just saying. But I'm not. I don't care what people do. Just do it in a way that's respectful to others. Right. And so the media will perpetuate this narrative. They do the flags, the transgender this. So anytime they want to create a narrative and get people to support it, you'll see this media blitz. Right. You see this mass marketing campaign, and there are actual companies that you can hire, cost a lot of money, but they will create these campaigns on behalf of elected officials, city officials, nations. You can go to their websites. You want to create this movement to legalize pedophilia? Well, they'll help you with the campaign. Everything is for sale. Everything has a price. That's where we live in these days. Folks, really quick, 15-minute cities. Have you been hearing about these things? Conspiracy theories. This is not a conspiracy theory. You're living in a city that's becoming a 15-minute city. Yonkers and all these developments that are going up are part of this mixed-use development plan created by the World Economic Forum, aka 15-minute cities, aka smart cities. You don't have to go very far. Everything is going to be right there. You may even mostly work from home. Can't you see it all happening? They're eliminating gas-powered cars. Everything is going all electric. I can't even get a client's home done because the Westchester County or Con Edison has a moratorium where you can't reconnect your gas line if it's been shut off for a while. You have to now convert to all electric. They don't care how you're going to get the money if you don't have it. But you got to get the money because you're not going to get any heat in your home or hot water. They put smart meters, and you better do it or you're going to get fined. Why do we need smart meters? We had dumb meters working for a very long time. What are these smart meters going to do? What about the smart street lights that have Wi-Fi and send signals and can pick up signals from your phone as you walk by? So you can be literally tracked in real time via your phone and the cameras that are being put up with facial recognition software. Why do they need facial recognition software in these cameras? Are they hunting for people that much? So you have to be careful, folks, and focus. I'll be careful what news outlets you're listening to and do your own research and see what's happening. So we're having these 15-minute cities being built here, the mixed-use developments where they're building these tall buildings going higher and higher, and they're putting in less parking spaces. It's not just happening in Yonkers. It's not just happening in the United States. It's happening all over the country. Same as this mass migration problem. It's a coordinated worldwide agenda, and it's no longer a conspiracy theory. So you're hearing that here in the city of Yonkers, right? They're building many of the developments and they're not putting enough parking for them. And people are complaining because they're saying, well, that's going to create parking problems in that neighborhood. They're putting half the number of parkings as they have apartments. And like, as he said, 400 and 500. Well, the Teutonia is what, 900 or so units? And they've rezoned a lot of the downtown area in Yonkers so they can go even higher than they were allowed to stack people on top of each other. You got the gym in the building. You see that over there by the waterfront. You can see the fitness place in the, forgot what those buildings are called. The Sawyer. You can go right down to the gym. Once you're done with the gym, you can walk a few feet over to the Starbucks that's there, right? And then go back home and work from your apartment. Or maybe there's a conference room in the building where you and your other millennials who are antisocial can gather but not speak to each other, have your earbuds on in your laptops, working, doing God knows what, producing nothing. Remember, work meant that you got your hands dirty, you actually built something, you moved something, you did something for someone. But that's what 15-minute cities are all about, and they're happening here in the city of Yonkers. This is not a conspiracy. Why do you think they're going all electric with the cars? Did you know that the pandemic relief bill also had a part in it that required automakers to also put kill switches and give access remotely to your car? It's about control, facial recognition. It's all about control. They don't need the parkings because most of the people will only sleep here. They will never eat or shop here. Yonkers will just be another hotel. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's happening. I think as they stated here, that was the case. It was called sleeper towns or sleeper, I forgot what they call bedroom towns, right? Or something like that, where people just came, they slept, and then they went to work. But now they're bringing a lot of the stuff here. And now people are working from home a lot more. So people are not really leaving. So you see, a lot of stuff happening all day long in the downtown area by the train because you have people that are working there now. And they're bringing more businesses here, but not manufacturing type of businesses, not like distribution type of businesses, where there's warehouses that are needed, but these are more IT type of businesses, right? This is the wave of the future. This is what we telling our kids and the parents, and what we, pushing our kids towards is, computer programming, coding, all that digital stuff, artificial intelligence, robotics engineering. That's the future. We are in the fourth industrial revolution, right? So a lot of people don't realize that. And if you're not listening to what they're saying over at the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab and these guys, they're looking to make major changes. They're even predicting another pandemic. They're even predicting the possibility of an electricity outage that will shut everything down, the internet and everything. They're saying they're having these conversations, right? World leaders are meeting up and having these conversations. Are they planning on shutting the power off? If you think about it, if we go all electric and the power goes out, we're screwed. We can't heat our food. We can't get hot water. We can't call anyone. We can't get money. We can't buy anything. Can't use your car. You're trapped. You're trapped. So that's the plan. That's the goal. And they're already predicting it just like they predicted the first pandemic, right? So if you want to research that, you can research, Event 201. Look up Bill Gates, the Melinda Bill Gates Foundation's Event 201. Literally months before the pandemic, they had a pandemic simulation that was exactly like the real pandemic. It's like they went into the future. From the way the reporters were going to be reporting, from the way the social media networks were going to react and censoring people, they had this planned. It's called lockstep. They all did it in unison. And people need to wake up. This is what's happening. It's only a matter of time before your daily routine is disrupted. But when you realize it, then it will be too late. You have to see what's going on now. There are countries that are no longer accepting cash. The new reserve currency is going to be a digital currency, no longer the dollar. So what does that mean? That means that the dollar is going to devalue significantly. So the money you have, the cash reserves you have on hand, it's going to lose value if you don't invest it. Why do you think they're putting all their money into this real estate? All the rich people are buying real estate. Why? They know there's going to be a currency conversion. Their dollars are going to be worthless. So they're converting their cash into tangible assets that they can then unload once the currency conversion happens, and they can unload it in the form of whatever currency, digital currency we now are using. But the house value will remain the same. It may drop a little bit, but it will go up. That's real estate. But if they kept the cash on hand instead of buying the home, they would have lost the value. You see? The rich know what's going on, and that is why they're buying up all of the real estate. Residentials, doesn't matter, single family homes, they're buying them up. This is happening as we speak. Each night you go to bed and you wake up, this is what they're doing, until it gets to a point where you're going to actually see it in your face, but it's going to be too late. When you're going to one day say, I can't go to the bank because they're closing the bank for a few days so they don't have a run on the banks, and you didn't get any cash or you don't have any, you're going to be hurting. So keep gas on hand, keep food, because food will be worth more than money, than the dollar. Keep water. I've done this. Many experts are warning people to do this. Many economic analysts are telling you it's going to happen. If you look at what's going on with the BRIC countries, they're pulling away from the dollar. If you don't know what the BRIC countries are, check that out. Brazil, Russia, India, China. There's other ones. They've gotten together. Saudi Arabia. And they're pulling away from the dollar. Bank holidays happen more frequently than Americans think. If we only had smart politicians, well, you know, they're smart enough to know that shit's going to hit the fan, so they're going to get theirs while they can. That's what's actually happening. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. This is the place where truth lives and corruption dies, and where I give you real information, folks. I'm going to be talking more about this stuff here and getting away from that other nonsense, as I've been trying to do that. So they just, every time I try to go and leave, they just keep pulling me back in. Is that how it goes? Do you know where that's from? That was my best, what's this guy's name? I'm looking right at him. Al Pacino impersonation. I got an Al Pacino picture in front of me there. From Godfather, right? I tried to get away from it and they pulled me back in with the nonsense. But yeah, but this is important stuff. We need to know about this. Yes, Brazil, Russia, India, Iran, China, and South Africa, those are the BRIC countries. Godfather 3, that's right. Godfather 3. When he was an old man at that time. And so it's important to know what's going on, right? What does it mean for the US dollar to be a reserve currency, and it's no longer going to be the reserve currency? They no longer want to use the US dollar as the petrodollar, right? You got Saudi Arabia in the mix now. Saudi Arabia is a big oil producer. So is Russia. So is Brazil. South Africa has a lot of minerals and resources. They want you to think that it's nothing but a bunch of, tribes that are uncivilized and you don't need to go there. But why do you think there's so many African billionaires being made now? But Africa actually has a long history with wealth, right? And they were actually very involved, the Africans, king and queen, specifically one queen, very involved in the slave trade. It was a real, everyone was involved, all colors, everybody. Everybody's guilty. Let's stop blaming each other. Let's start uniting, because it has now become the rich versus everyone else. The 99% versus the 1%. And we better wake up before it's too late. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics. Folks, have a beautiful... Folks, again, propaganda, use media to create narratives, perpetuate narratives, false narratives, so that the people will buy into it and believe what they want you to believe. We have to understand that you cannot trust a lot of the news sources that we have here in the city of Yonkers, unfortunately. And I happen to know things about certain news sources that I'm not going to say because I truly try not to create problems, but they want problems, so I bring the problems. But this particular news source, they haven't given me any problems. But even this news source, I'm just going to say that I was a bit disappointed because I thought that they were going to be one of the, I mean, not that they are not legit, but, I was looking for more people to come out who were ready to be mudruckers, as someone said, right? Real investigative journalists. But people get comfortable, I guess, and they conform and, they don't, produce the expected result that I was hoping for. But it is what it is. But, they'll still send me, people want me to do it. And this is the thing with the John Cater situation thing, too. And again, I'm not trying to blow this guy, but listen, this created a big problem. I mean, we should have deaded this. We should have had a sit down a long time ago, right? Now I got to be left out to defend myself. These guys are attacking my wife still. His wife wasn't getting attacked, right? And so this is why we put out, because there are people that, they want to be throwing darts, but they don't want you to know it, right? And so they'll utilize basement politics and they'll send me the stuff, right? But I'm like, why don't you do it? Why don't you post it? Why don't you share it? Why don't you hand out the flyers or the palm cards, right? Because they want me to do these things, and then who becomes the target? But the more of us that are doing it, it makes it more difficult for any one person to be targeted. That's why we all must speak out. You can't just hide, give it to Freddie, have Freddie do the dirty work, and then it's Freddie that's attacked, and not one person will come and support Freddie and defend Freddie. I'm not saying not one, that's a lie. There are people out there. But I'm talking about these specific individuals that are fueling the fire, that are sending me the information, and they have the platforms to do it, whether they are a known individual, they have a status in the community, or they have a platform. So why don't you say it? So that way Freddie doesn't look crazy. The Freddie that's supporting you, that got your back, but they won't say it. It's like when Dr. Rabadi called me up one day. He said, Freddie, I'm sorry that you're going through this. And I thanked him. I appreciated that. Thank you, Dr. Rabadi. That means a lot from such a prominent individual, well-known, very successful man. The doctor for the city, on the board of a bunch of hospitals, Montefiore, St. John's, I believe, General Hospital, called me up to say, I'm sorry that this is happening to you and it's not right. And he wanted to thank my wife specifically because she's the one that gets the most of it and she doesn't say shit. She doesn't even care about this, right? Says she was helpful to my family because my wife does an amazing job with kids, right? And he called me up. This is the true story. Do I have to produce the phone records? And he said, if there's anything I can do, let me know. I said, yeah, you can say this publicly because you are a prominent man in this community. And it's members from your community that's doing it. Stand up and say something so they know that these Rue Roses and these Yonkers Voice or Yonkers Newswires are a bunch of, paid liars. Because you know who my wife is. She helped your family, your nephew specifically. You called me up to say thank you and that you were, sorry that I was going through that. My wife was going through that. So again, with John Cater, prominent man, say something. Let's all speak out. Don't just give it to Freddie to do it and then leave him out there to take on all of the bullets, right? And I was willing to lead the charge and be a martyr. But if no one's going to follow behind me and pick up where I fucking left off or is willing to put any effort in, then what's the point? What's the point? So no, I'm not going to do that stuff. Not going to hand out these flyers because then I would have been a super target, right? Definitely would have went crazy. They would have probably been handing out crazy shit about me. And then where this individual would have been at, nowhere to be found, right? So that's the deal, man. That's the deal. Because I'm a loyal dude and I fight for people I'm loyal to. And I speak up for people I'm loyal to. I don't care. But if I don't get that same loyalty in return, then there's no loyalty from Fred. That's just, it is what it is. Just, it is what it is. Peace out. Muchos gracias y buenas noches.